2006, my buddy Bill's dad died, and I was invited to the funeral. I never met his dad, but I liked him very much from what Bill said. For one thing, he was a barbershop quartet participant. I thought that was kind of charming. And he was a wise man, too. I confided in my buddy, I said, you know, I've been having trouble connecting with my youngest daughter. I feel like I'm just not there as a parent. I'm not making it. And he said, my dad and I were talking about this kind of thing the other day. I did ask him, you know, now that we're all grown up, Dad, would you do anything different as a parent in retrospect? And he thought about it for a couple of minutes and said, well, I think that my mistakes, as well as my triumphs, formed you. So to say that I'd do anything different would imply that you didn't turn out so good. But I love you just as you are. So I found myself at the funeral, and there I sat in a well-heeled church. It was a Presbyterian church on the main line. I sat halfway down in the right-hand section of the church, and I looked across this vast sanctuary. It must have seated about 500 people. And there, up against the other section, bathed in the light from the stained glass window, sat a block of men. They were all sutured up with coats and ties, and they were looking very entitled and somewhat sanctimonious. And they were very establishment. Republicans. Yeah, they were, you know, they owned the place. They were probably the elders of the church and made the rules. And they elected George Bush to a second term. Then I remembered I was at my friend's father's funeral, and I gathered my resources, and it began, the service began. But then, right in the middle of the service, one of the Republicans stands up. He looks at the other 40. Oh, what is that? Now what? It's going to be a home security drill? Is it a code orange alert? The others jump up. They're standing too. The leader puts something in his mouth, and I hear a tone. Softly, I will leave you softly. These guys were 10 barbershop quartets. They had been gathered from all around the city. They were giving a tribute to their friend's widow. They were singing to her and serenading her, giving her a gift of a full-bodied blend of a song. The widow threw her arms around her oldest son and buried her head into his chest, and her sobs were racking her shoulders. She was sobbing and releasing the grief to the room, and we took it. Tears were coming down our faces. It was one of the most moving testimonies I've ever seen. So, these days, when I hear the Republicans, you know, block the public option on the health plan or stonewall meaningful climate change legislation, I don't get upset. No, I cut them a break, because at least they sing with a great blend.